Peace. Good morning. How you doing, family? It's Mr. R2 here at Consistency is Currency, your morning podcast of choice. It is October the 26th. Like October is like flying by. It's almost November. Like next week is the 11th month of the year. And I'm glad to have made it this far because there were a lot of people who didn't make it this far as life goes. To the latter part of October. There's some people who didn't even make it past the mid-year, and we're able to be blessed to see each other, to be on this side of the dirt, like I like to say. Just be in, just be encouraged. Um, so what we're doing right now today is actually redoing um, a conversation that was started, but technology just won on that day. Peace, good morning, Miss Anderson. Technology just really beat the whole conversation down. I think it was Monday. I think so. Just totally beat the conversation down Monday. It's like I was going through the second part and the sound just went away. So I knew that I wanted and needed to get the message out. So I was like, you know what? I'll redo it on Wednesday. And that's where I am right now. So thank you. And I appreciate you for being here, just being a part of this podcast. Consistency is currency. And as you can see, what we're talking about is talk yourself into it. So you see the question that is proposed right there on the screen. Have you ever talked yourself out of something? That's a question that you can answer like today. For those that's watching live, you can answer it today. For those that are watching on a replay, you can answer it when you watch it. Like, have you ever talked yourself out of it? Now, for those that was here during the first half of the podcast on Monday, like before it went completely dead and silent, you may see some things that are similar, but you're going to be able to get the whole full shebang, the rest of it. So let's go ahead and get into the conversation about talking yourself into it, because talking yourself into it is really having a conversation with you, right? Talking yourself into it is you communicating with you. Yeah, things happen, but things beat me up on Monday. It totally beat it up on Monday. All right, so let's go ahead and switch screens and go ahead and have this conversation of talking yourself into it. I pray that this conversation will be continued all the way through and not get cut off at any time, because I refuse to. Hey, trust and believe. If this don't happen today, I'm gonna do it again on Monday. I'm gonna get this message out because I think somebody needs to hear it, because we hear a lot of other people, but do we hear ourselves? Like, what, when we hear ourselves, what do we hear? And then what do we do? And then we'll expound on that, because especially when we get to the end, especially with the deep dive, you're gonna hear some things like, oh man, I never looked at it that way, or I never uh, acknowledged it or perceived that that's how I was looking at it. So let's go ahead and talk yourself into it. All right, for those that's new to the platform, or those that's not new to the platform, you already know how it goes. I always show appreciation in the beginning, then I go and break down what you may about to see. You're going to get definitions of the words and versions of the definitions. Again, if I say red over white, pay attention to the words that are in red. If I say white over red, pay attention to the words that are in white. Then I'm gonna give that definition and give it a modern twist to it, to find the messaging in the message, in the definition. And let's go ahead and jump into it. All right, so the word into. The definition of the word into, well, one of the definitions of the word into is expressing movement or action with the result that someone or something becomes enclosed or surrounded by something else. And the inversion that I want you to pay attention to is white over red. Expressing movement or action with result. Expressing movement or action with result. Now, I'm gonna kind of flip this a little bit. I'm gonna talk white and then I'm gonna talk red a little bit, but really focusing on white, because it says expressing movement or action with result. Have you ever heard the conversation where they say, I believe more what you do than what you say? Because if I am expressing it, like, how am I expressing it? Am I expressing it through words, or am I expressing it through action? But the best expression is always what? The result. The result is the true tangible expression, because I can express how I feel, but you see how I feel when I do certain things, right? So if expressing the movement or the action with results, I rather your words be coupled with action in order for me to acknowledge the result. Or I rather you understand that what I need to do, this movement that I have, or this creation that I've created, in order for this creation to actually come to fruition, I must what? I must produce a result. So now let's flip it a little bit in red. In red, it says that someone or something becomes enclosed or surrounded by something else. It's like, what are you surrounding yourself with? Like, what thoughts are you surrounding yourself with? What self sabotaging moments are you surrounding yourself with? What things are you burying yourself with that don't allow you to produce expressed results? Like, monitor your circle. Monitor what things that you allow yourself to see, because when you monitor the things that you allow yourself to see, then you won't be so enclosed with somebody else's thoughts and concepts, but you will be able to express your movement and your actions with the result. We spend too much time when it comes to talking ourselves out of it, that we never really communicated, nor have we developed the concept that you can actually talk yourself into it. Because talking yourself out of it could be you enclose yourself and surrounded yourself by everybody else, instead of you surrounding yourself with you surrounding yourself with your results, you surrounding yourself with your short victories, you surrounding yourself with the things that you have accomplished. Surround yourself with your results. You've done it. I'm proud of you. You have great moments. You had great moments. You have accomplishments that you have accomplished. And you have expressed that through your results. You have expressed that through your movements. I see how you move, so I understand that, man, this movement is powerful. And the actions that's been taken is only as a result of what you expressed internally with external results. So now the second definition of into is indicating a route by which someone by a route indicating a route by which someone or something may arrive at a particular destination. I'm gonna flip this too, but we're gonna start red over white before we begin to communicate uh, about the red. All right, so in red is indicating a route. By arrive, indicating a route, arrive. Well, take by out. We're gonna omit by. So just stay with the red and not the by. Indicating a route, arrive at a particular destination. So let's look at it from this perspective. We all have our own personal GPS, right? The way we think could be an internal GPS. The way we move can express where your GPS is leading you. The way we communicate can express the way our GPS has taken us. Just like you talk yourself out of it, that means you've talked yourself out of your own destiny. You've talked yourself you talked yourself off the route. You talked yourself away from where you're going. for whatever reason, whether it was fear or whether it was um, just self-doubt, whatever it is, you've talked yourself out of the route. Just like a GPS, what is it going to say when you find yourself not in the space or the place where you're supposed to be? Rerouting. So talking yourself into it is rerouting. It's indicating a route in order for you to what? Arrive at a particular destination. Because when you talk out of it, you're no longer in alignment in the direction that you're supposed to go. And what happens when you're out of alignment? There's some pain when you're out of alignment. Just like when your back is out of alignment, there's pain. It hurts. Like, I don't know what. It hurts. And that same pain that you feel when it's out of alignment, that pain is going to do what? It's going to make you make choices. That wrong route is going to make you make choices. Just like when you were on the map, when that destiny, when you're on the map, when you're driving, you're seeing more than one way to get there, but you have to indicate which route that you want to take, whether you're taking a toll roads or you're taking no tolls at all, or you're taking no highways. But you can talk yourself on the right route. You can talk yourself in the most direct path that would allow you to arrive at a particular destination. Like, where do you choose to go? What is the particular destination? And that particular destination will not be accomplished until you indicate the route. By choosing not to talk yourself out of the route, but to talk yourself on the indicated route by choice that you choose in order for you to arrive at that particular destination. So let's flip it real quick. Let's go white over red. By which, remember the by is not red. I know physically it's red, but the by is not red, not red, it's white. By which someone or something may. So by which someone can talk you out of your blessing only if you indicate that route to be what you so choose to do or where you choose to go. Something may take you out of alignment only if you allow it to be the route that you indicate that you want to go. Like, I don't know how I let her talk me out of this. Like, you shifting blame. You're not being accountable for the decision that you made, because especially as an adult, the final decision is up to you. Not what somebody else say, but the final decision is up to you. Like, I don't know how I let that talk me out of it. I don't know how I let that persuade me to go in this route that was not even indicated for me to go down. All right, we go to the next. So the next definition is expressing a change of state. Expressing a change of state. So now, especially when you're talking about a change of state, it's like changing your state of mind, changing your state of being, changing your mindset. Like, changing your mindset is like changing your set of thoughts. Say changing your mindset is really changing your set of thoughts. Like, how do you communicate to yourself at this time? How do you communicate about yourself at this time? What do you say to you during this time? Because if I'm ever going to reach that particular destination at a particular set of times, so I must understand that there has to be a change of state. and I must express that change of state. If I'm ever going to reach that goal or reach that destination, there must be an acknowledgement that that thing needs to change. Like there's some sort of conviction that needs to take place in the change of state in order for me to express the direction that I'm going is a route that I've indicated in order for me to reach that destination. And now the other uh, definition of into is expressing the result of an action. Everybody definitely understand the result of an action. The result of an action is pretty much what? A reflection of your thoughts. That's the result. The result of an action is really the expression of how you were thinking. Like it's easy for you to say, I'm done, I quit. That is an expression of your thoughts, as opposed to you're saying, like, you know what? I'm not going to let this keep me down. I'm not going to allow myself to feel this way because I know that I'm better than this and I know that this can change. So therefore, I must change the way I see it if I'm ever going to change the result of the action. Again, it's not a complex conversation to talk yourself out of it. That's probably the easiest thing to do, to talk yourself out of it, as opposed to sit there and tell yourself why you are doing what you're doing in order for you to talk yourself into it. Because now when we're talking about expressing so much, I want to understand that the definition of expressing is convey a thought or feelings in words. So now to convey a thought or feeling in words, that is how we are really determining what route that we're going to go down, because we have to convey to ourselves like what our true thoughts are and how we are managing our expectations by how we manage our emotions that we are feeling at that time, not just through words, but even through the actions in order for us to what? In order for us to have the results of the actions that we're taking. And the second definition of expression, and then we're going to jump into the deep dive. Now, this definition of expression, it really hit home because, like, expressing, like a mother who's breastfeeding, and the way she expressed her milk is through like a pump and stuff like that. So this definition of expressing is squeeze out. So how I took this was to where, flipping the definition to allow it in order for you to see it in a different perspective. So it's like you can squeeze yourself out of a situation because you've talked yourself out of it. That you have begun to take yourself off the indicated route because you've squeezed yourself out. But what if you squeeze yourself in, like bring it in? You ever been somewhere where like, all right, everybody bring it in, like get tight. Let's talk about this. Let's it's cold and now we're going to need to get close in order for us to get warm. So let's squeeze it in. Like, what about these warm conversations that you need to have with yourself? What about those intimate conversations that you need to have with yourself in order for you to begin the process of talking yourself into it? Again, it's easy to talk yourself out of it. It's easy to squeeze yourself out of it. It's easy to squeeze yourself out of the route that was indicated that you were supposed to take, that you didn't meet that, reach that particular destination because you squeeze yourself out of the route that you were designed to take. So now when we go and we begin to talk and communicate about talking to ourselves and talking yourself into it, I know sometimes it may be It may be hard, or you may have conversations like, I'm afraid of being successful. I remember when my son was in high school, um, and I was asking him like, what are you doing? Like, I know you're smarter than this. And you know his answer was, I dumb myself down just so I don't want them to know how smart I am. So he act out because he didn't want anybody to see how smart he was, and he didn't want to be so successful that he felt he had to dumb himself down. Like, don't muzzle your success out of fear of being successful. I'm going to say that again. Do not muzzle your success out of fear of being successful. Or you may say it's not fear. Do not muzzle your success out of your concerns of being successful. Just execute. Talk yourself into it. Breathe life into it. It's easy to take life out of something, but it takes work to put life into something. So let's go ahead and go into this deep dive. Has transpired since the beginning to now, whatever had resonated with you, just go ahead and put it inside the comment, because I want to go back and I want to read it. What are the things that resonated with you the most? All right, so in this deep dive, like, have you ever talked to you and talk you out of your success, or talk you out of your gifts? Like, you knowingly engaged in a dialogue with yourself and talked yourself out of it. Like, in that moment, we didn't feel that we've done anything wrong until we reach that destination of like, man, this probably could have been a whole lot easier if I only had listened to myself. Right? If I only had listened to myself. You still can. So now let's flip that. But what if you knowingly engaged in a dialogue with yourself and spoke to yourself out loud about yourself and talked to you and talk you into it? Because talking yourself into it, it kind of forces us to slow down our thoughts and our process and process them differently, because we engaged in a language that our brain understands. And when you engage in a language that your brain understands, so now the thoughts that you have would possibly becomes a lot clearer, and the actions that we take is the reflection or the result of how we thought. Because yeah, it is easy to talk your way out of it. And I think it's easy because a lot of times we're listening to ourselves, right? We're listening to ourselves so much that we don't talk to ourselves. Listening to ourselves and talking to ourselves are two different things. There are two different actions that take place when we listen to ourselves and not talk to ourselves. Because we listen to our past experience and we develop these limited beliefs that talk us out of our future. But what if we substitute our fears with our future? What if we substitute our concerns for our commitments? Don't spend more time talking yourself away from it, but begin to spend more time with you, talking you into it. Because don't you know and understand that a decision is only in response to our thoughts? Just like when we talked about fear, fear is not real. It is only a response to where our thoughts have come from. Fear is only a result of the thoughts that you're having. Just like your decision is only in response to the thoughts that you have. And so, what if you changed your thoughts? Because when you change your thoughts, what happens? Your response and how you respond to them will then change the outcome because you've made a conscious decision. You've made a conscious effort in order for you to change your outcome because now you consciously talked yourself into it. Because when you talk to yourself into it more, subconsciously, that confidence is going to build up so much that when you walk into the room, your confidence is going to click. You'll be like, boom, I'm ready to do this. Let's get this done. Then you'll be like, oh man, I did that. I did that. Like, I feel a lot more confident in the actions that I've taken because I've committed myself with more confidence in my thoughts. Because be strong and be courageous in your abilities because your future depends on it. I think we need to spend more time uh, talking to ourselves and listening to ourselves. Because to be encouraged is to talk to yourself, right? Because you're telling yourself, be. Be. That's a different level of commitment when you be something. Because be encouraged is talking to yourself. To have self-doubt is to listen to yourself. Because to develop a level of commitment is to talk to yourself like, you're going to need to be committed to this. You said you're supposed to be here at 10 o'clock. I need you to commit yourself to 10 o'clock. That's you talking to you. Instead of you listening to yourself. Like, man, it's 10 o'clock. I don't feel like going. I'm already late. So why do I need to go? If I'm already 5 minutes late, I might as well not go. Right? You hear the difference of talking to yourself and listening to yourself? Because the commitments change. And to be discouraged about something is listening to yourself. Like, oh man, I don't feel like doing this. Like, I knew I shouldn't have done this because I knew it wasn't gonna work anyway. Uh, and because it didn't work the last time, it's like, why do I need to try anyway? Right? You're discouraging yourself because you're listening to yourself. And because you're listening to yourself, you're taking yourself off that indicated path. So therefore, you want what? You will not reach that particular destination because you're not talking life into it. Self-sabotage is listening to ourselves. And I don't know why I made the time to do this. Like, I can't do this. Like, every time I try this, it don't work. And I don't think I got it in me. So I'm just gonna go ahead and go home today. Right? You're sabotaging the whole thing because you're listening to yourself instead of talking to yourself. And I need you to speak to the future you. Because to speak to the future you is talking to ourselves. Having that covenant with you is talking to yourself. Having that dedication is talking to yourself. That determination is talking to yourself. Having the faith to do something and to be committed to something, even if you cannot see it, is talking to you. Having that level of commitment is talking to you. Being consistent is talking to you. It's like saying, I need to go ahead and get this. I need to do this over and over again. I'm going to be here tomorrow at 1 o'clock. We're going to do these push-ups. We're going to do these sit-ups. We're going to do this elliptical. We're going to go and run on a treadmill. I'm going to go do this. I'm going to do that. Or I'm going to sit down. I'm going to this business plan. I want this business plan finished before the first. Whatever it is, you're talking to yourself. And as you're doing it, you're creating a consistent pattern of forms and lines of victory that you are winning. So now you become a lot more consistent with your winning process because you're talking to yourself. So one thing I want to make sure that you remember, I don't care if you don't remember nothing else I say. Just know that your future you is listening to your present conversations. I'm going to say that again, and I want you to put that in the chat. Your future is listening to your present conversations. Like, what are you saying to you? Because your future you is listening to it. Your future is listening to your present conversations. And that's real. Like, that's so real, it's almost scary. It's so real, it's almost scary to the point to where it's it's damn near almost like you have to recommit yourself. Because if your future you is listening to your present self, then what do you say to you when nobody else is around? Because the things that you say to yourself in the dark, it's going to live in the light. But what are you saying that you need to re-communicate to yourself with, right? What new levels of commitments do you need to have with you? Because I remember as a child coming up, I forgot this verse. We was in church and it said, out of the heart, the mouth will speak. Like, I wasn't paying attention to nothing that was going on in church, but when when he said that, I was like, okay, that's real. Out of the heart, the mouth will speak. So if you profess that thing that you have inside of you and you want to commit yourself to that indicated route in order for you to get to your particular destination, like, what do you say to you to get you to do what you know that you need to do? I don't know what it is, whatever. Now, these are your talk to you words. What? Commitment. You talking to, you're committed to what you're doing. Destination. You're committed to the destination. You're committed to being determined to get there. That's you talking to you. Like, I have to communicate with me if I know I'm going to get there, because sometimes I need to talk to me to encourage me that no matter what happens to me today, I know that I'm going to do my best because I'm committed to what I'm doing. I'm committed because, remember, your future you is listening to your present conversations. All right, that's enough. Let me go write that down. No, I don't write that down. No, I'm just playing. I'm interested in learning what resonated with you today. Just put what resonated with you. And I think, like, when you put it down and you see it, so now you're not just committing it to memory, you're kind of committing yourself to the conviction that you might have, like, you know what? All right, bet. I need to reshape some of my thoughts in order for me to put myself on that indicated route in order for what? In order for me to reach that particular destination. These are just definitions that's in the dictionary. I'm just reshaping them and repurposing them because your purpose was given to you on purpose. But what are you going to do with it? Because remember, your future you is listening to your conversations. All right, that's enough. All right, what you got? What'd she say? Let me go write this down. I needed this morning. I appreciate you. Miss Queenie, what you say? Your purpose was given to you on purpose. Oh yeah. That's my saying. I was blessed when that came out the first day. I was like, man, that's dope. And I stuck with it. uh Miss Queenie said, committed to the change, committed to your future. 100%. Like, what are you committed to today that is going to recommit you to your future? What words do you say to you? What desires do you have? Because desire is really not um, a desire is a want. But in order for your desire to be fulfilled, you have to speak to it. It's just like saying, I have a desire to I don't know, read a book by the end of November. But there's action that comes with that. Because if the desires of my heart is to read this book before December, then I have to do what? I have to have a level of commitment and speak life into the process that I have, or the process that I've created, in order for me to achieve that. So I have to speak to myself constantly, like, okay, all right, today we're going to read 2 chapters. We're reading 2 chapters today. By this weekend, we're going to get 4 more chapters done. Because you have to speak to it. Your desires won't come to pass until you speak to it. I don't care what you do, but what are you saying to you? What are you saying about you? What are you saying about it? All right, that's enough. I gotta go. Um, man, y'all be blessed, and I pray that the rest of your day uh will be as bountiful as the seeds that you plant. But y'all be blessed. And remember, right here at Consistency is Currency, your morning podcast of choice, take this live and share it with someone that you know that needs the encouragement. Take this live and share it in a group that you know that they need to talk themselves into it and not talk themselves out of it. Y'all be blessed. Peace.